Hello, everyone. Welcome to Court with Krissy. Here's a landlord-tenant case with Judge Sanders. And between the slumlord and the damsel in distress, I think they both need to vacate the property. This is just the beginning. They're coming back. I hope you like it. Court with Krissy is now in session.
Hello, good afternoon to both parties. If you could please unmute and turn on your video feeds, I'd appreciate it.
I don't have a video feed for Slade Johnson.
Okay. Well, that's just an issue because I can't really see you be sworn in if you don't have video feed.
Okay. Let me try on Zoom. Let me see if it'll come in where I'm at.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Is this working?
You just need to turn on your video footage. The audio is working.
Oh, it won't do it. I hit the button, it doesn't do nothing. I don't know how to,
All right, well, we're just gonna begin at this point because we're 10 minutes after, so. Ms. Plomedal, are you okay with beginning without video footage? I can barely hear you, by the way. I just want to let you know.
That's fine. Is that better?
That is a lot better. Thank you. Okay. So we're here in cause 25S000020. We have the plaintiff Slade Johnson present. Defendant Sydney Plomedal is present here as well. Today we're here for request from plaintiff for $10,000. That's $2,800 in damage to the apartment and $7,200 in back rent and late fees. I'll just explain how it goes and then we'll go forward. Today, I have both parties' exhibits in front of me. I have the plaintiffs and I have the defendants. So how it's going to go is Mr. Johnson will go first. He'll give a side of the story. I will listen. If you have any exhibits that you would like me to refer to, please tell me to look at them as you are testifying. Afterwards, Ms. Plomedal, you'll have a turn to speak. Again, if you want me to refer to any of your exhibits that you have submitted, please just tell me to refer to them specifically because I do have them in front of me. If either party has any witnesses that they wish to call on their behalf, they may when it's their turn to go. At the end, I'll allow Mr. Johnson to speak again shortly because he is the individual bringing this matter. I just request that both parties only speak to me, don't speak to each other, just so we can remain cordial during this trial. And I'll just be asking questions throughout the trial, so I'm not trying to interrupt. I just want to get to what I need to get to award any amounts or not award any amounts. So at this point, does anyone have any questions? No. Mr. Johnson, do you have any questions? Mr. Johnson? Might have switched over to the phone. Can you get the phone number in? Mr. Johnson, is that you and phone number ending in 5347? Please unmute, or Mr. Johnson, please speak. We cannot begin.
Yes, can you hear me now?
Is that you, Mr. Johnson? 5347?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Did you hear anything I said?
No, because it turned off. I tried still to video it and it killed it, so I had to call back on a number.
All right, so you're going to be the first one to testify. When you testify, please refer to any exhibits that you need me to look at. I have all of yours in front of me.
Okay.
When you're done testifying, I'll let Ms. Plomedal speak. She's going to refer to any exhibits that she may want us to look at. She'll refer as we're speaking. Then at the end, we'll allow you to give a short statement at the end since you're the individual bringing this matter. If either of you have any witnesses, please call them after you testify in your own case. At the end of this, I'll return my judgment. I just ask that both parties speak to me and not to each other, just so we can be cordial during this process. And that's pretty much it.
Okay.
All right. So Mr. Johnson, I cannot see you, but I'm asking you to raise your right hand.
Okay.
Do you swear to tell the whole truth during this proceeding?
Yes.
Can you please state your full name and spell your last name for the record?
Slade Hollis Johnson, Johnsson.
Okay, please begin with your testimony.
Okay, this is about rent, and I have on, it's May of 24, she didn't pay any rent, and it's on August of 24, she didn't pay any rent, and October of 24, she didn't pay any rent, and then it's through January, February, March now, she hasn't paid any rent. And actually, she was late as actually of February 23, or actually March of 24, sorry. She didn't pay the full rent. I haven't added any of the late fees to that, but, you know, that's like 6 months. I think that's about $7,000 some dollars that's owed in back rent. She's, you know, I can't fix anything there because I'm evicting other people there and they're not paying rent. She has, you know, she's quite a bit behind. So, you know, this is about rent. I need to get some rent or, you know, she needs to do something. She hasn't, you know, made any plans or anything. And then I showed some pictures to her of a ceiling. That's the ceiling down below her. She's an apartment for apartment 2 down below. That was like about last March, I think, April, somewhere in there, that her vanity leaked. It took out part of the ceiling down below. I called her, asked her if it was leaking, and she said, yeah, it's unfortunately been leaking for a few weeks. She never called, left a message, nothing. And that's about it, Your Honor.
Okay, so damage to apartment, is that to her apartment or to the apartment below?
It was to the apartment below. And then her roof is leaking in one little spot, and you know, I have no funds to fix it. You know, I mean, I have another person that hasn't paid in a while, and you know, it's the bill. You know, it's just not possible for me to pay all the bills there and keep it, you know, and fix her ceiling at the moment. You know, I mentioned before she has the rent. You know, I think as a landlord tenant laws, you know, I gave her permission to take the rent money and have it fixed. About all I can do at the moment.
You've given her permission to use her rent to fix the apartment?
Right, because that's the landlord tenant. She owes me you know, she's owed me rent way before there was need anything fixed there really. And, you know, she mentions a door that, you know, I fixed it. It was actually kicked in by, I believe, one of her boyfriends. I came up, fixed the door jamb, made the door work. You know, she never, you know, paid to fix that or any of that. So
The
that's
permission to
about it,
use,
Your Honor.
okay, the permission to use rent to fix the apartment, is that for all the months that haven't been paid or are those specific?
No, she could use all the months, you know, that was, you know, from when she started being, whenever that thing was in about October, November. But by then she owed a bunch. She would never, you know, make a plan to pay back rent, you know, and I wasn't charging no late fees at all. So,
Okay. All right. And then, do you have any witnesses to call on your behalf, Mr. Johnson?
no,
Okay.
no,
All right, well,
no,
I
and it's
will,
all through,
sorry, go ahead.
and everything, to me, it's all paid through the bank. It all goes to Heritage Bank, all the rent and everything. So, you know, all this is, you know, I can show you the bank statements if you need.
Okay. All right, well, I'll let Ms. Plomedal speak and then afterwards you can
Okay.
also speak after what she says. Okay, sir?
Yes. Okay.
All right, okay, Ms. Plomedal, can you please raise your right hand? Do you swear to tell the truth during this whole proceeding?
Yes.
Okay, can you please state your full name and spell your last name for the record?
Sydney Plumedal, Plomedal.
Okay, if you could please start with your testimony.
Okay, so I have been trying to get him to fix this for months. This started last July, is when the cracks started, and I told him about it, and he said he was gonna fix it. He came multiple times and came and looked at it. I actually have moved all the furniture out of my room so that he could fix it because he said he was going to twice, and he never came. The first time he said he was going, he came and he looked. He said he was going to come back, so I moved everything out. He never came back. The second time he served me with a paper, like a 48-hour emergency entrance to fix damages. So I moved everything out. He never came, never fixed it. This has been leaking. I have a 6-year-old son. We're probably breathing in mold and who knows what else. The door, I have an interior door for my outside door. That's the only protection I have. It has one lock on it, one lock. And by him fixing it, he just put wood on the door frames. I took a picture of it, I think. It's kind of hard to capture in like pictures, but the only way he fixed it was just by fixing the frame. But I still never got a real door. And that was the first time I got broken into. The second time I got assaulted, and I worked on getting the papers from that case, but I didn't get them in time. I have them now. I could turn them into the court, but it's been crazy. I've been trying. He says that I haven't messaged him to get things fixed, but I have, and I sent you or I turned in the messages of me trying to get things fixed. The reason that I have been withholding rent is because he hasn't done his duty as a landlord, and he never ever has told me that I can use my rent money to fix the damages. That is news to me. That is the first time I've ever heard this. I don't even have like a mailbox key. I never got a mailbox key, so I've been having to go to the post office to receive my mail. Um, there's endless. Like I could go on and on and on. He sued like multiple of his other residents after they left. He followed one of them to their new apartment and tried to talk smack on them to their new apartment, which is crazy. I he's gone around the apartment building telling everybody that I'm a drug addict and I don't deserve my kids, which is crazy. That's insane. Like I've never done that in my life, and it's just crazy that a landlord is going around telling people that. There's just so much I could do. It's not just a case about rent. I've had to go to counseling because of this. I've been so scared. Like whenever I hear somebody coming up my stairs, I think it's gonna be him because he's come up here and just yelled at me for stuff. Like it's not, I'm living in anxiety and it's not great. Like
Oh, ma'am, why are you still living there? Why are you still
I
there?
don't have I'm trying to wait. When I get my taxes, I'm going to move. That's my plan. But I have not, I'm a single mom. I have not had like $3,000 to put first and last months down. Like it's hard to move.
I get it, but you haven't paid rent for like a year now. You're living somewhere for free for a year.
It's not been a year. I stopped paying like in January after he said I have the receipts too.
Okay, so what is March 24, May 24, August 24, October 24? Do you have receipts for those payments?
I'd have to find them, but yes, I took a picture of all my receipts.
Because I do understand having habitable living conditions, but I mean, you can't withhold rent for a year if that's what Mr. Johnson is saying.
It's not been a year.
Okay.
When it started leaking, when it got rainy, his resolution was to bring me a bucket. A bucket.
Yeah. I mean, this is a tough situation because I understand what you're saying, but also a long time to not pay rent. So your statement is you just haven't paid for, we're in March. You haven't paid 1, 2, 3 months of rent? That's it?
There's Yeah, and I was working towards paying because there was a few months like where I couldn't pay all of it, but I'd still put what I could like down, and so I told him about that, and I was working towards paying that off. But then when he didn't want to fix my roof or do anything, like why would I can't even stay in my bedroom. Because I'm scared my ceiling's gonna crash down on me. Like
Were you aware that your vanity was leaking? based on what Mr. Johnson stated?
No, I didn't know. And after he never came and fixed it, that sink in my bathroom that he's talking about still doesn't work. I just turned it off because I didn't want to cause more damage to underneath, and he didn't fix it. So I don't have a sink in my bathroom, which is
Mr. Johnson, are you aware of all the issues in the apartment?
I fixed the sink. I actually came up and snaked it because I have all the, power snakes. So she clogged that up, the one that took out the ceiling below. I fixed that. I've seen the roof, but like I mentioned to her, that, and that was in about, August or something. She'd already not paid for, since May. She missed a total payment in May, August, October. There's just no way to fix this stuff. Last month I paid, they ran my water bill up there. Somebody just turned it on and ran it up about an extra almost $800.
I know, but Mr. Johnson, as a property owner, you can't not fix things because other people
I
aren't
know, but
paying.
right, but well, it's her, it's her apartment, this has been going on since, May, where she didn't pay. I mean, if you don't have the funds and you're barely making it, how does this happen? She owes it's over $7,000. I'll have it fixed today, if she, give me
But
the rent,
Mr. Johnson, I
we'll
just
have
heard
it fixed today.
previously that you're not fixing it because other tenants aren't paying their rent and you're in the process of evicting
no,
them.
it's not that. Okay, I take that back. I'll stand corrected on that. I need the money that she owes me to fix her roof. It's just unaffordable. All the bills there, everything you have to pay with insurance, everything. It's just, there is no way. Why doesn't she move out?
That's not how
I
it
mean,
works, Mr. Johnson, as a tenant. You
okay,
don't just fix
right,
something
but
if someone
okay,
pays rent.
okay, well, on the harassment, all that kind of stuff, I've never done that. That's all just made up. I don't do that. I have other rentals. I can get, people there that, I just don't do that. That's all. I don't know why she's so traumatized.
may I say something?
Yes.
Sure.
He texted me after the 17th, which is I didn't reply, but he said, haha, bye bye, loser thief. And I just think that's really immature, and I don't understand why he would text me that when we haven't been in communication. So I filed a harassment order because why are you doing that? Like, you're supposed to be professional, or he's supposed to be professional.
All you need to move out of that apartment.
I know, and that's my plan as soon as I can. I'm actively trying. I actually have a housing helper at Core Health where I go to counseling, so I'm working on it. Like I that's the goal.
My problem is this is all the paperwork I have for outlining your rent, and you're saying that you only owe 3 months of rent, but I don't have any receipts from you proving that you have paid rent. But I also agree that you can't, Mr. Johnson, you have to fix
Yeah.
apartments to make them habitable. You can't.
Correct.
I understand, but
But
you
if you-
can't
But
just not fix it so someone pays rent, because then it's just an endless loop. She's not paying rent because you're not fixing, and you're not fixing because she's not paying rent. But you have to offer her a habitable environment, because her statement is she was paying prior.
Well, no, she quit paying before all that happened. Before the roof leaked at all, and So if I go fix that, or somehow I can come up with it and fix that, then, I get my back rent? Or is that I
Yeah.
don't get no back rent and I fix it too and incur the expense, which I can't really do,
Sir, my issue
so,
is, and I'm just telling you really honestly, is that
right. So what do
I'm
we
just,
do here?
I know
That's the thing.
you're in a really, I think you're in a tough situation. I don't think
It
that,
is. It's impossible almost, It's
yeah,
almost
and I agree
impossible
with you.
anymore,
I
you
agree with
know?
you. The only problem is that the only problem, and I will just say that I'm having with this is, let me just see. So here's my problem, sir. And I'm just gonna read this to you from the lease. Page 7 of 11, retaliation. The landlord is prohibited from making any type of retaliatory acts against the tenant, including but not limited to restricting access to premises, decreasing or canceling services or utilities, failure to repair appliances or fixtures, or any type of act that could be considered unjustified. But Ms. Plomedal, you also need to pay him. So this is where the impasse is. Mr. Johnson, your acts could be considered retaliatory, but Ms. Plomedal, I have no way of knowing when you stopped paying rent. You have provided no financials here, have you? Or have you provided some financials?
I provided some receipts.
Okay, so I see here 7/11/24, $1,100.
He said I quit paying in May, so if I'm paying in
Okay.
July, how does that work?
No, he didn't say July. He said May, August, October. So here's July. Here's January of 24. Here's April of 24. He didn't say April. Here's August of 24. You did. I don't think you paid the full thing. So I do see in August. January, February, March, April. Here's April. January of 24. Okay, not asking for that. So yeah, I mean,
But he's been saying that I haven't been paying for a year, which simply isn't true.
no, that was probably me just asking you about paying, but I don't see payment for October. I don't see payment for November, December of 24.
I can try my best to get receipts. I tried to save all I could, but it's hard, but I can try my best to get receipts. I know that if I didn't pay it all, I paid a little bit because in January was when he brought me the bucket. That's kind of when I drew the line. I was like, this is so disrespectful. Like my ceiling is going to cave in, and your response is to bring me a bucket when I tell you that it's leaking.
Well, here's
That's
the thing. Do you even have the finances to pay for the apartment for the last 3 months? I'm not asking you like how much you're earning because that's none of my business. I'm asking if you were told to pay the last 3 months of rent, would you be able to do that?
I could do a payment plan. I mean, not all at once. I don't have
Mhm.
that, but I work a good job.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, here is my issue. Like I said, we're just chasing our tails at this point because Mr. Johnson, I get what you're saying. You deserve to be paid. It's your unit, it's your apartment. But also, you can't just stop fixing an apartment because someone's not paying. That's retaliatory.
Correct.
So what what do we do? I mean, if that's correct, what do we
Hey,
do?
if I could get, a few months rent and a payment plan, I could make something happen, but I am stretched financially to the end, literally to the end. I mean, I've told her for a long time, make a plan, come up with something. Can you do 2 months? Make a plan to get on track, pay extra till it's paid back.
But Miss Plummetal did, or not Miss, I mean, I guess between the two of you, did you pay a first and last month's rent? Seems like
when
in
I
your rent, did
when I
you?
moved in,
Yeah,
I honestly can't remember. That was a while ago, but I did turn in my lease. So maybe it should be on there.
I have your lease right here. Was the door like that when you moved in with only
It
one lock?
was, and he did say that he was going to fix it, and he did say he was going to fix my mailbox, and he did say that there was going to be a laundry room and a carport, but these things were never given to me.
I will say in here, it says that you do have 0 parking spaces, so I don't think there's anything about parking. But I mean, here's the thing, from what I understand, Mr. Johnson is saying you can use your rent to fix your apartment. Right? We all heard that.
That's the first time I've heard that. Yeah. He hasn't said anything about that prior to today.
So why don't
No,
you hire someone in to fix, sorry, go ahead, Mr. Johnson.
oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. You go ahead.
Oh, I lost my train of thought at the moment.
It
No,
was about using rent to fix the apartment.
no, I mentioned that, a long time ago. I said, hey, you got to do something. It's been extremely tough. You got to pay your rent. I got it numerous times on my phone, that I've asked her that make a plan, do something, pay your rent. It needs to be fixed. I mean, this is in May, there was no payment. I have this all on it goes to the bank. I can bring, show all the,
Well, that's
you
the
know,
problem. It's
the,
Mr. Johnson. You haven't really provided financial like breakdowns specifically other than an outline that you wrote. And then Ms. Plomedal, you haven't really provided any receipts proving what months you have paid. So then it's, one word against
right,
the other, and
right,
it
but,
makes it difficult.
can we continue this over and I'll, file them back with the court?
I can, but
Off, off,
Miss Plomedal, I mean,
off my bank,
yeah,
off
I
my
mean, we
bank
can continue
statement.
it because I think Ms. Plomedal, it's in your best interest to provide me some statements of what months you have paid. But I also think that it's very important to hear right now that you are being told you can apply your rent to fixing your apartment. But also you need to weigh that with, are you moving out and when, right?
Yeah. That's
Because
what the plan is. Within the next few months I was gonna move out. I'm not trying to stay here.
well, that's the other issue. If it's within the next few months, I mean, if you haven't paid since the beginning of the year already, you technically do owe him for that rent. But if he's saying, hey, make it right by fixing it, why don't you hire a plumber to go fix that sink, right? And that'll be deducted from your rent. Do stuff that you need to do. Hire someone to put a door in with 2 locks. That'll be deducted from your rent. Hire someone to come in and go look at that roof and at least give you a quote to see how much it would cost to fix that. And provide paper trails to Mr. Johnson. Everything has to be in paper. Everything has to be provided. And then that way, instead of at the end, you having to pay rent, at least for the next few months that you're there, have some more safety, have stuff that works, right? But it's fixed to your needs. Does that make sense? Just because then at least it provides you with a living place and Mr. Johnson's, you're applying rent, but you need to keep a paper trail. You need to keep how much everything's costing. Because then if at the end, Mr. Johnson comes back for that rent, you need to be like, hey, this is actually not how much I owe because it cost me, $700 to fix the door. That's the month's rent minus $700. So just talk to Mr. Johnson. I know that it might be a situation where it's not the best communication. We'll have a third party there. Have someone else there, okay? Have someone else that can maybe assist. If you're at your counseling area, call him when you're with your counselor or something, okay, to talk it out. But I think that the best thing you can do is try to fix the apartment while you're still there with the money. Is that right, Mr. Johnson? Because then you would have an apartment that you could rent out later that's fixed, right?
Correct, but if she hires someone, it has to be a licensed and bonded contractor. It just can't be some random
For
person
sure.
off the street.
So maybe
So,
you'd have to work with
sure,
Mr.
yeah,
Johnson.
she wants to have that. That's more than fine with me.
So you have to have license insured, so make sure that it's everything correct and by the book. But, if you are still going to live there for a few months, you might as well maybe apply your rent to fixing your apartment instead of withholding rent and then having Mr. Johnson come for it at the end. Apply it to at least you can get a plumber to come in and fix your sink at least. You know, check with Lowe's to see how much a new door costs with two locks or whatever. And they offer your installation services. They're licensed and stuff like that, you know?
Yeah.
At least be safer for you and your kid, right?
Yeah, sorry.
No,
But
I get it. It's just the situation is really hard for me to judge on. It is really hard. And I just want Mr. Johnson to be made whole because it is his apartment, but also like I get why you're not paying it. But then, you know, this is the best of both worlds. Use some of that money right now to fix what you can in your apartment to make it better for you because you heard that it'll be deducted from your rent. Okay. That's got to be a good situation, at least right now, right?
yeah, that's good.
I mean, I think that's a really good resolution, at least for the time being. But if you want this to be continued, Mr. Johnson, so we can send in receipts, absolutely. But in the time being, Miss Plummetal, try to fix up your apartment so it's more livable.
Okay.
Keep
Okay,
track
can
of,
we set this over for like a couple
absolutely.
months?
Yeah, let's set it over for a couple months. And you know what, Miss Plummetal, if in a couple months you're like, I moved out, I don't live there anymore. Okay, well, that's great. But we'll still just talk about rent and what you did to fix it. So make sure you guys keep track of everything paper-wise, okay?
Okay.
Okay,
I think that's a great solution. So I'm gonna set this over. Let me check my trial dates. I'm gonna give you guys some time because maybe this will be figured out by then. Okay, the first one is because we have lots of trials going on right now. June 4th at 1:30 p.m. Is that okay?
That one doesn't work
you-
for me.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
okay.
could you
Great.
repeat that one more time? June 4th at 1?
So that doesn't work for Miss Plummetal.
Oh,
Does
okay,
June
okay.
11th work? June
Yeah,
11th at
that
1:30?
works.
Does that work for you, Mr. Johnson?
Okay, at 1:30?
Yeah.
Okay,
so
June
June
11th at
11th.
1:30.
So, and once again, it's going to be the same process for both of you. Since June 11th is it's going weird. Since June 11th is the trial, that means by May 30th, all parties have to drop off all exhibits at the courthouse. That all receipts. We're not going to continue this again because, oh, I wish I had included some more receipts or something like this. This means everyone, please bring me receipts, spreadsheets.
Okay,
Ms. Plomedal, get your bank records. Show me repair records. Like everything has to be in front of me, please, for by the 30th. And then on the 2nd, that's June 2nd, you guys can come and pick up your exhibits from the courthouse trials, June 11th.
Okay. And
okay,
that's on Zoom again, right?
Right here, yeah, the exact same process.
Okay.
I want everyone to know that because of how late that trial is, I am actually going to be getting rid of these exhibits. So everyone needs to provide me with new exhibits, okay?
Okay.
okay.
Thank you. So I'm not retaining anything. All right, well, thank you to
Okay, thank you.
everyone. I hope this is resolved. Ms. Plomedal, fix your apartment, make it livable. Mr. Johnson, I understand where you're at. I know you need money. We're gonna try to figure this out for both parties. Until then, we'll see you on June 11th.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, bye to both of you.
Bye.